What is up, ladies and gentlemen? And this Meepo guide isn't only going to teach you how to play Meepo and all the hotkeys that you have to know, but it's also going to teach you how to make noobs cry. The very first thing you have to do when you play Meepo is you have to make sure that your cast abilities are on quick cast. So what is quick cast actually? So as you can see here, there are three categories. There's cast, quick cast, and auto cast. So your first two abilities, you want to have them on quick cast. So how do you change it to quick cast? So originally this would just be Q and W in your hotkey binds. So how to change this is you go to quick cast and you change the net to Q and the poof to W. And over in the cast, you can make it whatever you want really, because you're not going to be casting it normally. And okay, so now that you have those two on quick cast, here I'll show you how it works. So what quick cast actually does is, let's level up to max. Let's get all our Meepos out of here except for the main. So as you can see, the first two abilities says Alt Q for my normal cast, which is like this. But if you were to quick cast it, I would just have to click Q and the ability would cast wherever my mouse is placed. So let's say, hold on. Let's say that there's an enemy right here. Instead of having to click Q and then click on where I want, I can instead just press Q and it's gonna cast wherever my mouse is. So let's say my mouse is here, click Q, goes there. Here, click Q, goes there. Here, click Q, goes there. So why is this important? Having quick cast on is important because you are controlling multiple units. So let's say I were to have all 5 of my Meepos here, or 4 in this case because I don't have Aghanims. And imagine having to press Q and then click and then switch Meepo, press Q and then click where I want. Overall it would just take more time. So having it on quick cast allows me to cast nets really fast like that. So let's say I'm in a situation where there are multiple enemies, I can go and catch them all in my nets. So okay, that's one reason why you want to have quick cast, and then there's a little bug there. And okay, so how does Poof actually work with quick cast? So normally, again, if I don't have quick cast on, so it's like this, it would put up a cursor like this and I'd have to click again in order to poof somewhere. But with quick cast, I simply put my mouse to where I want to poof, press W, that's it. I don't have to click with my mouse again. So same concept. This is important because you want to be able to poof with all your Meepos as fast as possible, especially because you have multiple units. So let's say I have 4 units, and if I were to have to click with my mouse again, that would be 4 extra clicks. And I know it's very minute. If you're able to click really fast, good for you, but no matter what you do, no matter how fast you click, having 4 less clicks is obviously faster. So you can do stuff like net everywhere and then poof all of them in an instant. So here's another important button to have is your tab button. So what your tab button does is it changes control of different units. So let's say I'm on my main Meepo. So if I press tab, it goes to my next Meepo, which you can see is highlighted over here on the left. And if I press tab again, it goes to my third Meepo and to my fourth. So that's a button that you really need, because let's say I have all my Meepos highlighted and I want to poof them all. Let's say I have my main Meepo over here and these 3, I want to poof them over here. So what I want to do is quickly press W, which has quick cast on, so I don't have to click again. W tab W tab W. Now what this does is, since we know that tab switches unit, it's gonna cast poof, then I press tab, switch unit, then W, cast poof again, press tab, switch Meepo, press W, it's gonna poof again. So if we do this quick, it looks like this. Yeah, so that's why the tab button is very important, and I will show you other more advanced mechanics with the tab button later on after we establish the hotkeys. So other hotkeys that we need to have, we have to have hotkeys for select all units, select all control units. Let's go to advanced. So we need hotkeys for select all control units, which is over here. Mine is F2. Feel free to copy my hotkeys from my Meepo, and select all other units, which is my F1. So what this does is, if I would like to select all 4, I wouldn't have to drag my mouse over them and do this. Instead, I would simply press F2 and it selects all my Meepos for me, no matter where they are. And the other hotkey is F1, which is select all other units. So let's say I have my main Meepo selected, but I only want my replicate Meepos to, let's say, run away or TP home or whatever. So instead of having to, let's say my main Meepo's here, instead of having to look for them around the map, I can simply double press F1 and it's gonna bring me to my Meepos. So why is this important? Let's say, okay, here. So I have TP boots, right? And let's say I want only my replicate Meepos to TP home. So instead of having to like click on one and then TP home, what I can do is press F1, double click my TP boots button, so one of them will TP home, and since that's the Meepo that TP'd home, with my other Meepos, I can simply press tab, and remember the quick cast button casts where your mouse is, so this is where the mini map comes important. So now that I know that my first Meepo is back at home over here, I can simply press tab, then I'll press W on the mini map where my first Meepo TP to, press tab again, and then W on the mini map where my second and first Meepo TP to, and they would all TP on this onto the same. Well, not TP. The first one would TP, and the others would poof there. So, having the F1 button, which is my select all others, is very important here. So I'll do it quicker for you. So the first one TPs, and then the other two W, tab W, and they're all back at home in an instant. This is important to, the F1 button is very important because let's say you're in the middle of a fight and you only want, let's say your main Meepo is high health and the others are dying. That's where the F1 button comes in handy. One of them can TP home, and the other two can simply follow. And then after they're healed up, you go back to your main Meepo and press F1 again. So this is where the F1 comes into play. You press F1 and then you spam your Poof quick cast on your main Meepo so you can bring them back to the fight. So they come back to the fight full health and you're ready to go. Okay, so if all your Meepos are low in this case, then that's where the F2 button comes in handy. You do it with F2, then tab W, tab W, tab W on the minimap, and they're all back in base. This is how you can escape from bad fights, or if you're caught somewhere, you can just like try to escape from a TP, then poof, 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 and you're out of there. Okay, so here are other very important buttons to. Here are very important hotkeys to have. So let me just get this new Meepo in base with my others and bring them back all together. So here I have my Meepos. So all 5 of my Meepos. So this panel on the left side is very important. This is what tells you which Meepo to send home, which Meepo should run away, which Meepo can stay. Yeah. Having this many units, you're gonna have to have a single hotkey for every Meepo that you have. So obviously, you have a hotkey for your main Meepo, minus spacebar. But what about all the other Meepos? What about these 4 Meepos over here? What if you only have to control one of them? So now we need hotkeys for every other Meepo. So mine are, my hotkeys for every other Meepo are right here. Okay, so I have F4. Oh no, sorry. So I have F5, F6, F7, and F8. So my F5 to F8 controls the individual Meepos here. And this is important because, so let's say I have one Meepo that's getting pretty low, and I have to TP him out of this situation very quickly, and I don't know which one it is. So this is when I look at my left panel side and I see that it's this Meepo. So now that I see on my left panel side that it's this Meepo, I have my Meepos hotkeyed, my second one to F5, my third one to F6, my fourth one to F7, and my last one to F8. So if I were in a chaotic situation and I had to TP only this single Meepo out, I would look at my left panel side, see that it's the bottom Meepo that's low, and I'd simply click that hotkey button, which is F8 in my situation, and double click TP home. And he's gone. Simple as that. So that's why this panel is very important. So you basically look at this panel in order to see which Meepo is low and which corresponding hotkey to press. So if it were this middle Meepo that were low, that would be my F6 button, and I could TP him home. If it was the fourth Meepo on the panel, F7, TP him home. If it was my last Meepo, F8, TP him home. If it was my second Meepo, F5, TP him home. And that is how the panel works, and you have to look at the panel in order to see which Meepo is low and which one to TP out. So now that we have established all the hotkeys, you're gonna have to learn how to do the blink poof combo, which is basically like this. I know it looks a bit complicated, but with enough practice and the right hotkeys, you'll be fine. So remember earlier I mentioned the F1 hotkey, which is select all other Meepos. So this selects the bottom 4 Meepos in my panel, which is all my replicate Meepos, not including my main Meepo. And how poof works is wherever you press the poof, so let's say I press poof here, it's going to poof your other it's gonna poof that Meepo to the closest Meepo unit to the area that you pressed. So let's say I were to press, let's say I had this unit here and this unit here. If I were to select these three and poof here, they would end up on this Meepo because it's closer to the spot where I clicked. However, if I had, let's say, this Meepo here and this Meepo here, and these three I wanted to poof to this one, I would have to click, I would have to have my cursor closer to this one when I poof, otherwise they'd go here. So if I were to click here, they would poof to this one. That is how poof works. So now we do the poof combo. Now this combo requires you to tab W very quickly, and tab W is what I mentioned earlier, basically cycling through your Meepos and casting the poof ability. And how this works is you want to have your cursor where your main Meepo is going to blink. So let's say if I were to blink here in this area, I would want to poof my units close to here, so they would poof here when my Meepo blinks there. So how this works is, so let's say there's an enemy right here, and this is where I want to do the poof combo. I would have to cycle through my Meepos while pressing W and click in this area if I wanted them to poof there. So how this works is you press F1, so you select all your other Meepos, and you do the W shift to the area where your main Meepo is going to blink. So if I were to give you an example, it'd look like this. So that is the blink poof combo. And one very important thing you have to remember when you do this, that most people do not mention in the tutorials, is after you do the W and tab cycle with your other Meepos, not including your main Meepo, you're gonna have to select your main Meepo quickly, only your main Meepo, which in my case is spacebar, and then blink to the area. So after you do the cycle with your other Meepos, you select your main Meepo and then blink to the area where you want to do the damage. So here's how it looks. Now this is very effective in killing people. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and if this really helped you, then give me a thumbs up and share this video. See you guys next time. If you guys have any comments, just put them down below. I will answer every one of them.